Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. As I said at the end of last week's episode, we were going to have Montoya as a podcast guest this week, but it's Father's Day. So because Montoya lives on the West Coast, I would have had to do the podcast start a little bit later, and East Coast would be pretty late for me. Father's Day, I'm going to hang out with my in-laws, things like that. So it's it wouldn't have worked schedule-wise. So we rescheduled Montoya for next week, and this week kind of left with what do we talk about kind of situation. So I figured let's do this disaster again and allow whoever to talk about whatever, at least Star Citizen related. Every time we've done these, they've been basically a dumpster fire. So I expect that as well this time, and it should be interesting. So we'll see. We'll see. But let's start out with our first caller, Johnny Morgan. Johnny, can you hear me? Oh, I'm muted in Discord, actually. Hold on.
Yes, I can. How you doing, buddy?
You heard me on Twitch. Do you hear me on Discord now? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you on Discord, and I got the stream muted.
Awesome. All right.
I see your mouth moving out of sync, and it drives my brain nuts.
There we go. All right, Johnny. So I'm good. What do you want to chat about today?
I want to talk about the community today because it's been really interesting lately. It started with Pat, right? Well, the other streamers that are playing Star Citizen. I don't know if you caught it late yesterday, but Lupo's been playing it too. I watched his stream yesterday. They're trash at it. It's so fun watching them because they're all brand new to it, right?
Yeah.
But it's been really interesting, and like Deadly playing it has been fantastic because he's not brand new to it. Same with Pat. They've been touching base here and there over the years, and it's really nice to see them explore it and having fun in it, like this fresh set of eyes. So I've really enjoyed that aspect lately of the community kind of like growing, and I suspect there's maybe some marketing dollars being thrown at it.
There's some marketing going on, you said?
Well, I suspect there's some marketing dollars being thrown at it at times, like Lupo, the contract streamer. Is very angry at me for waking her up.
Oh, I can tell you're like trying to be quiet. I'm trying to bring your mic up, but it's hard.
Sorry about that. I've woken her up now, so I won't try as hard. Yeah, it's been interesting just to see the new people coming in, but what I was going to really talk about is the lack of content for them, right? So Lupo has just gotten into it. It's really fun to watch him because it's like all of us when we first started. Doing the bounty PvE, Deadly's hit the same wall that a lot of us have is, what do I do to produce content on this network, right? Like on this platform. I've been struggling with that. Like I haven't produced a lot lately. The bugs kind of pushed me out a little bit. I've just had some fatigue on it and kind of waiting for 3.17.2, right, to drop. There's a lot of good quality of life fixes. PvP combat's really fun right now. I have hit, though, on the last little while on a really good loop and putting together a little video for it, and I'll share it with you and stuff like that. But I've hit on Durgan, actually, the squad leader for that I play with. He hit on a really good content loop, too, that we've been executing on. And it generates interactions pretty quickly. Been having a lot of fun with it. And then I hit on another accident. Well, so Durgan figured out that we can raid the bunker missions. So we spread out in an area and we go looking for people at bunker missions, and then we raid them, right? So it generates interactions pretty quickly. The other one is caves. I've been going to the caves because they're very lucrative right now. And I've had some amazing fights, dude, inside of them, like FPS and air battles in them. So what I've been doing is loading up my cuddy, going there, looting the cave. So I do one of the missions, right? Sometimes I'll bedlog just to hop service to find, a new cave and continue on doing it. It's a little cheese, but most of the time I just fly to it, right? Because then I go to Kudra Ore and I sell all my stuff there. And I've been just basically living out of Kudra Ore and staying on Daymar for the most part. I go to the cave, I land there, I go in, either other people show up, which has happened a bunch of times because they're coming to do the same thing, or someone's already there. And that's been fantastic. So I got a 3-man squad wipe. I won that one. I was able to open my cuddy door, tractor in their box from blowing up their ship. I was trying to actually land and talk to them, but one guy kept on flanking me. I kept on seeing him run at me and stuff. It was super great, man. My hands shaking level of adrenaline, right? Because it's all random and I was just logging in to do content. I didn't even want that interaction, and then I got thrown into it and it was great. And then a saber showed up as I was trying to loot their bodies. I managed to run back to my cuddy, get into it.
And you're getting crime stat through all this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got
So then you're getting the bounty hunters coming as well.
Well, that was their friend for sure responding to them, because one of them was still alive, so they were able to jump to it. So I went out and thirsted them. And I was about to loot their body because that's where all the good Hadanite was. But then he showed up and I made it to my ship in time, got in there, and then I pushed the saber back because I was better than him. And it was fucking great. Oh, and then I won that fight, but then I had to skedaddle because 2 more showed up. It was great, man. So I've kind of hit on that little content loop, and I'm going to try to explore that a bit more. It's limited, and you know, so my concern for a lot of these people coming in is like, guys, you really got to manage your expectations, because while it's really fun at the start, you're going to get to this, and Deadly nailed it with this phrase. Star Citizen is this really deep game, but it's also very shallow at the same time. And that's been the problem that I've had too, is that I did my player interaction series. I've done my pilot journey series now. I did a little bit of podcasting. I'd like to do more of that. I like the long format interview stuff, so I want to get a bit more into that. But then I've been looking for something to do in game that's kind of compelling to watch on a stream, and that makes good YouTube stuff. And I feel like this is a good one. Like, because the people I'm meeting in them, one guy, like, he thirsted me. I saw him turn and then went back to shoot him because I knew someone might be leaving the boxes. But he got me first. I started talking to him. He didn't realize I was a person. That is the fun part too. He's like, "Oh shit!"
The thing that is so annoying about this situation with all these new people coming in, or older people, just bigger audience people coming in, is that they're coming in the worst patch we've had in the last 9 months. Why does it always happens this way? So it makes no sense to me. Why do they always show up when the patches are bad and they never show up when they're good?
I know. Deadly was like, it was funny for Deadly because everyone was telling him don't play Free Fly, and then he's like, Free Fly seemed to be the best experience I had right during this, and then after Free Fly things got really crappy. And we've all experienced that too, when they add more resources for an event and then take those away afterwards because there's a cost associated with it, right? But yeah, it's a mixed emotion on that, because in one way I'm like, I'm glad you guys are getting in now and kind of figuring it out, and like before the next patch drops, because I hope they play through the Siege of Orison, because I think they'll really enjoy that. That'll be a really good showcase of kind of the content potential of Star Citizen, if it works. Touch wood. But yeah, that's kind of I've been really interested to see the growth, and like that we have more eyes on the game now, and I've always suspected that people like Lupo would really enjoy this game. And if you watch it, he is really enjoying it, right? Like
that's what everybody's saying. I don't like. Every time I see this, everybody gets excited about these people, but then they're always going to hit the wall. And like everyone's like, oh my God, look, it's not the same content creators that I've been watching who aren't having fun. But it's like, they are the same content creators you've been watching that aren't having fun. They just haven't hit the wall yet. Like, exactly. It just, every time a new person comes and joins and plays, everyone just like, their dick gets hard over them every time, and I just laugh every time. Like, these guys aren't going to stick around. They aren't going to be around forever. They're going to hit the wall, and they're going to stop playing, and they're going to all say the same things. Star Citizen is very cool, has a ton of potential, but isn't there yet. And then that's it.
It isn't there yet.
You know?
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they keep it in the rotation now. So that's
sure.
kind of where my
I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, you have the right expectations, where I think a lot of people don't, is like, where I really see this going with people like Deadly Slob, Lyric, unfortunately not Level Cap. I think Level Cap is like full on like lost it and is like full into Star Citizen, and I don't know if he'll ever
taking
hit the
Star Citizen pill.
Well, yeah, but like he also comes from Battlefield, so it's like the kind of the same level of just like he's managed this long with Battlefield, he'll be fine in Star Citizen, I think, because it's no matter what, Star Citizen will have more than Battlefield has given him in the last few years, I would imagine. And so he's a different situation is more what I mean than anything. People who are looking for actual content will keep it in the rotation, and I think that's where Star Citizen is, and that's showing that Star Citizen is a lot better than it was previously, where nobody was able to keep it in the rotation before, except for like idiots like me, which, how much do I really play the game? We do mostly talking about it.
It's hard though when you play it long term. Like, I'm in the same spot where it's only been in the last 2 weeks that I started logging in, because Durgan hit on this format, and that's really fun. So I do encourage more people to do it. You just spread out. There's only a handful in each moon, right, that has bunker missions. So you just go and rotate through them. And then once you find them, you all converge on the one person. I'm hoping that will encourage other people doing bunker missions to bring more of a team, right? Because it's like a mini jump town. Same with the cave raiding. I highly suggest trying it. Because even if no one's there, you can go in, shoot the AI, loot it up. Like, it does feel like a gameplay loop, and I've been enjoying that. Like, I know I'll get bored of it in a couple weeks' time. Like, there's only so much I can do of it. Unless the interactions keep being really good, they'll stop as soon as the caves are not super valuable. Because you can make a ton of money doing this, too. It's the most enjoyable money making I've done in this game so far. Because I feel like I'm actually playing a game, and there's the chance that another player will show up, and it's happened. The last one, like, I didn't thirst, I'm sorry. He was coming down the stairs he was just coming to loot doing the same thing. He flies. Pretty new guy, but he figured out this is a good way to make money. And he didn't even have a weapon on him, but I shot him, but he just downed. So I started talking to him, right? And then I revived him, got up, and we went our own ways and stuff. It was really nice. It was cool, right? So I'm getting all these interactions that I want without having to spend like a million hours. Like it's been about 8 interactions over a period of like 4 or 5 days, doing it pretty steady. I don't know how many hours in total, but like it's better than the standard set, right? When you're just trying to go out there and meet people, and like the only place you meet them is at like ASOP terminals, which is fun, but like you can put a scratch team together sometimes that way, but it's not a reliable content loop at all.
No, it's more intense if you meet them where you could shoot them.
Exactly. It's so good. So I recommend trying it out, man. Like, and the bed logging is working really well. I figured out a couple things with bed logging. One, because I've lost my shit this way, right? When you go from non-crime stat to crime stat, go back to Grimhex and log out there. And then the next time you come in, you can bed log freely. But when you actually have that change and you bed log out and come back in, it loses your position in the world for some reason. So I should actually probably write a report on that one. And don't bed log as a group. It works relatively well, but it will bug out on one guy type thing.
I'm just gonna wait till 317.2 and like in like 99% of situations. I don't see why I would like the current experience is just it has so many problems that should just be fixed. With
I agree with
a little bit of time, and hopefully they took that time. I don't know.
I hope they don't change the reward on the caves because they've been very interesting. Bunker missions are pretty reliable because people like doing the FPS, but they're pretty static, the layout and stuff like that. The cave has a bit more of an interesting environment to fight in. But yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I haven't been playing much. It's just because Durgan stumbled on this, and it's been really fun. And we generally send people money afterwards and stuff, right? Like, if they're a good sport about it and stuff like that. We try not to ruin people's night completely. But this is what I'm in the game for, is that competitive PvP environment. And honestly, that's what I think keeps most of us who are the long-term sticky people on it really invested in the game. It's that competitive nature, because sweet baby Jesus, is it good, man? I think that's what's going to get these other content creators in and locked in. Like, I saw it in Lupo yesterday when I was watching. It was so fun watching them on this because they're so brand new. It was like me playing the game again for the first time.
Yeah. I just can't stand the current bounty situation where they have the god marker on you. So like if you get into any mischief, it's always a really toxic interaction with other people. They blow up the ship outside, and then they have a marker on you, and it's just always a mess. And that's one of the things that I'm like looking forward to, is that whatever Bounty Hunter V2 does become, because we know that marker will go away with that. It has to. And
the other side is too, like, you either have to, like, this is one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit too, is that this is a very team-based game right now to be successful in it. So like in that regards, right, if you have a marker, but if you take the time to take down all the comm arrays, they don't see where you are, right? So it's there, but like the amount of effort to do that is ridiculous for the amount of payoff for it. So no one does it, right? Like it's really not worth it to do it unless you have a big team that can execute on it. But then the big team dynamics of running everyone ends up, you dominate the server too much, and then blah, 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 right? You get stuck in that loop where you're either too many of you on the server and then you just get no interactions, or there's not enough of you to execute on the loops well to make it interesting. And so I get bored, And I'm not really running my tournaments right now. I love that other people are doing it, like A1 and Gabs, right? They're starting it up. We're getting this, like, the ecosystem is starting to grow, and we're getting to the level where it's just like almost ready. It's going to be a while yet still, but I'm feeling pretty good. Like, that's my feeling on Star Citizen lately, is I feel pretty good about it. new eyes are coming to it. The gameplay's pretty decent. They're addressing some
Absolutely.
stuff. They're moving the ball down the line.
Like, is it
I don't
a
have a lot to
perfect
complain about.
experience? Not even close.
No.
Won't be for a long time. But if it doesn't feel like we're going in the right direction, I don't open your eyes, because it does feel that way.
I agree. I agree strongly on that. It was funny. Failure to report. Do you remember that guy?
Yeah, of course.
So he popped up again. Like I guess I was still following him. I hadn't seen him do anything. I watched his stream for 5 seconds. It was about like the Starfield stuff and just shitting on Star System. I was like, man, you have really not moved along from this position since like 6 years ago when I first started following you. And I was
when all the
not
things that
positive.
that you used to complain about are all the things that they're actively like changing, working on, focusing on. You can't continue to be mad. It doesn't make any sense.
Too.
It doesn't make any sense.
It was still the same like whiny tone and stuff. I'm like, okay, you haven't moved past this. I unsubbed then because I didn't realize I was still on him. But it was just, for me, a moment of like, wow, has things ever changed? But, you know, other people haven't moved their perspective with it, but it really has. Like, from my perspective, just seeing this person that before, I'm like, you had some valid criticisms too. Dude, come on.
Yeah.
Come up with something new on this. It's the same old, because it doesn't address anymore. They have moved the ball. Like, they've moved the needle significantly. The company has grown.
Sort of. You want to talk, like, you're somebody who I would want to talk about this with. I'm starting to get annoyed by the letter from the chairman. That was a very exciting moment, right? What's happened since then? Obviously, we don't have 3.17.2 yet. We don't have 3.18 yet. So a lot of the things that were supposed to be in motion aren't quite there. We're not at the end of June yet, so there's still... But I'm still of the mind that, like, why haven't we seen persistence in action? Because if you are going to drop 3.17.2 and then you're going to drop 3.18 very soon after, which should have this persistence thing, you should be capable of showing your community what it may be capable of. Or, you know, hey, maybe they don't want to do that. Like, there could be, like, valid reasons why you don't. I just found that if we're going to say CIG has changed, it didn't feel it now from that letter. That letter was like, okay, I feel it. I feel like things are going to go in the right direction. And like, even Xylo came to this channel and said, yeah, but talk is cheap. It's time to walk the walk. Well, you haven't even fucking crawled when it comes to that situation, right? When it came to the letter, you guys haven't even crawled, let alone walked or run. So it's one of those things where, yes, you need to walk the walk, and a lot of the walking will happen in the next couple weeks. But I'm getting like, okay, I don't want to like go at them for it yet. I'm getting nervous about it. I'm getting nervous that we just had the same Chris Roberts interaction that we've had for the last 10 years of it's all just bullshit, right? And I'm scared that it's all just bullshit. But we have a couple weeks before it is.
So my takeaway from the chairman's letter was more, I was really happy about the data they shared about the growth of the platform. You know, the subscriber count, the increase in money and stuff like that, and addressing some of the issues around their development and stuff. I thought, you know, I did my latest piece that I put up with kind of like, what pain point did CIG solve? And you know, I'm not going to talk really about that too much, but one of the things I was talking about is I really approve of Chris stepping back more and dialing back his rhetoric, right, and his pitch to the community, because he's already been successful in that, and now it's time to really focus on building that company. And I think he's done a pretty good job of dialing it down too. I thought that chairman's letter was actually like really dialed down compared to what he previously pitches and stuff like that.
Yeah, agreed, which is why I liked it. But then at the same time, we dialed up on the most important tech in the history of this game up to this point. They had a demo and it worked. But all of that was only in words in a chairman's letter. None of that's been shown. None of that's been demoed. None of that. So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't exist. I know it does. Like, I know it does. Right? But like, you got if it's like just PES, dude. PES. PES doesn't exist unless it exists.
The pivot from iCache to PES. The backend database service. Well, I believe it does exist.
Of course, so do I. But it doesn't exist until you can see it.
Yeah, until the full deployment of it is actualized in the game, 100%. Like we're not gonna. It would be too buggy of a mess, but we're gonna see it in 3.18, right? That's the big deal with
That's
the cargo
why
refactor,
that's
from my understanding.
yeah. I mean, I've already like said it though. Is that obviously in a couple weeks that's where we'll realize these things. But I am a little bit nervous that I would have thought that they would have been chomping at the bit to be like in a sprint report on ISC. Like, hey, guys, like super excited.
I think they pivoted away from that, right? I think they're going to start showing us this stuff when it's ready to roll. Like they kind of said that, right?
It's ready to roll. It worked. What do you mean?
I don't know. I didn't follow any of this stuff, so it's caught me a little off guard in that sense.
Okay. Let's
I'm aware of the database.
Let's slow down for a
pivot,
second.
right?
Let's slow down for a second. What was written in the letter was 3.17.2 will drop. Everybody knows 3.17.2 is an Evocati. It'll be in the PTU in a matter of weeks. Very soon after, 3.18 should be in Evocati/PTU.
Which where we get the full database refactor, right? Where we're off iCache completely at that point where I'm
correct.
That's
so how can it be feasible that it's not in some form able to be shown, especially when you showed a demo to the company internally? And if you're not showing the community, it creates silence creates stupid, irrational thoughts. And that's what's starting to creep in.
I don't have a strong opinion on this one. This one, we'll see it when we see it, right? On the dev side of stuff, they're still trying to figure out how to communicate with their community really well. We have a different relationship with them, right? This is actually something I talk about with the pain point that they solved, which is ultimately, in my opinion, the relationship between the producer and consumer around video games. How do video games get made? Right? It's mostly high-end financing, people with big bankrolls that want an ROI in 2 to 3 years. Cyberpunk got fucking ruined because the people that funded it said, push it out the door now, I want my money back. Right? And Star Citizen has a completely different relationship. CIG did not expect that. Like, I think that's what they're struggling with too, is we have this completely different relationship with our funding. They basically have a farm to table, content delivery system that is new, and they don't really know how to talk to us well on it. I don't think they fully realize it internally themselves that the relationship is just so radically different than any other funding model. I think they've really started to learn it too, but we're both struggling on both sides of it. Because it's new ground, completely new ground how this game got built and funded. And it's the reason why we're getting the actual game that we really want. Because literally, what else is there?
I mean, Johnny, you don't have to explain this to me.
Here, right?
I know, but you don't.
Oh, sorry. I guess it's my frustrations on the industry coming out. Sorry, my apologies.
No,
it's why these big guys are here.
I
right?
obviously know these things.
Tarkov sucks. There's no Warzone. While I enjoy watching it, it sucks, right? I think in some ways this is our last great hope before we just basically all go, okay, we're going indie games.
No, man, Ashes of Creation will save us. Okay.
Wait, what is that one again?
Ashes of Creation will save us all.
I don't even know that game.
What?
Yeah, I don't follow gaming anymore, man. It's literally, I vaguely recognize the name of it. It's some MMO, right?
Yes.
I'm old.
It's like the Star Citizen of the fantasy MMORPG genre, basically.
Really? I don't know. I'll give it a check out. I got out of the fantasy stuff. WoW was the last one I had any interest in, and I burnt out on that 6 months into it. But then I got
and I'm just memeing. I have no idea. It's just I was just trying to farm compy emotes on Twitch. That's all.
Oh, okay. I'm like, should I know this game?
You should know this game. It's mind blowing that you don't. But anyway, we've been going on for 25 minutes, so we should probably.
Yeah, I love talking to you.
Allow somebody else.
Super great chatting, dude. It's
always.
Sorry, I cut you off. I'm terrible at that. But it's been interesting. I'm enjoying the time, regardless of all the things said and done. And I know the drama and the worry and stuff. At PES, I think they'll nail it, honestly. The bit that we've seen from the streaming coming in seems like it's a solid tech, and they figured out that their back-end database, and they admitted it, and they pivoted. That is a great sign.
Yeah.
Will they get it out in 3.18? Probably not.
They better.
They better, but probably not.
They better. Otherwise, it was the same letter from the chairman that we always get. Bullshit.
I know. I hope we'll see. Touch wood.
Yep. I'm touching.
Cheers, boys.
I hope so too, because it's literally everything. All right, Johnny, be good, buddy.
All right. You too. I love y'all. Cheers.
Bye now. All right, hold on. Before we go to the next caller, Yeah, I love Johnny. I love Johnny. He's so passionate, so happy, loves. I just love it because he's like kind of like, I know the things that he's saying, like obviously kind of the defensive parts of the project. I was just curious what he thought about how the letter from the chairman hasn't kind of turned into anything yet, and that's something I would love to hear what you guys think. It's only been a few weeks, it hasn't been that long, but like those thoughts are starting to creep in. I'm starting to be like, oh my god, are we going through the same thing again? Did I fall for it again and again and again? And I don't think so this time, but it is freaking me out, and I am worried about it, But all right, let's bring Jab Loca in. Jab, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up? Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to you. I probably have to turn chat down a little bit because he was so quiet. How you doing?
Pretty good. Excited for 3.17.2. Hopefully they smooth out some bugs and add some new gameplay stuff. But yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm hopeful too, and like even to piggyback off of like what Johnny was happy about, like all these new people coming in and these cool streamers for him to watch or whatever. What I hope is that they have played 3.17, gone okay, and then come back around and get a feel for what the game might be like without a lot of the problems that we haven't had in a while, actually, right? Like about 6 months. Like a lot of these like back-end database issues and server crashes
stuff that is like
we haven't had problems with this for a while, So
yeah.
they just like creeped in out of nowhere kind of thing.
But I think it's because the backend has never had to deal with so many players, I guess. And
yeah, probably.
Like showing the problems that it's working at the moment with the skills stuff. That's why we're moving to PES. Because the current system is just how old is it now? Like 5 years, 6 years or something?
2017.
Yeah.
3.0?
And of course they have improved it, but there's a reason why they're moving away from it. And with the PES stuff, I think they're not showing it because of the backend stuff. Like, what are you gonna show? Like to crash a server and boot it back up, but it's almost the same as crash recovery.
Yeah,
there's not much to show, to be honest.
I mean,
it's a backend technology. Like how you're gonna show the code base or something. Like
that's the only thing. Like, is it possible to even show it? Because you have to show a server credit. Like, would you be showing sensitive information that you don't want to show the community? But I think putting the letter out there and then going completely silent on the most monumental thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, at least tell us
that's what makes me uncomfortable. That's all.
Yeah, show us have you tried it a few times more? Like, have you made improvements to PES in the meantime?
Like, you don't have to show. Keep that line of communication open.
Yeah, communicate. Right? You don't have to show it. Communicate, exactly. Same goes for TS of War. Like, don't have to show me where it is at the moment. Just tell me where the progress is. Like, why has it been delayed? Like, tell me why something is not here when you told us it's supposed to be here at this time.
No, it's not. To be fair, it's not supposed to be here at this time. So again, like that's what I was trying to communicate to Johnny. Oh, Theaters of War. Sorry, I apologize. I thought for some reason I thought we were still talking about PES. Okay.
No, PES. They still have a few weeks to get it
exactly.
Evo.
Like, I'm not freaking out. out. But the thoughts are starting to creep in.
Even if it's in July, I'm still a little bit hopeful. Even like a month delay, that's been like the benchmark for the last 2 years. So if it's in July, okay, but any later than that, I'm gonna stress out. Like, then I want to know, like, what's happening. Is it broken again? Is it like an iCache situation? Yeah. Like, they have to figure something out. And
yeah, we got to go through the steps. The more PS is
delayed, the more 4.0 is delayed, and the more then
yeah, we got to go through those steps first. But I would have liked to see, like, hey, we're we've continued testing on, because like there were monthly reports, right, since that letter was posted There was a roadmap update since that letter was posted. So I would love to see just like more like talk about the hey, we've been continuing testing, things are going well, or hey, we hit a little snag here and things might, it's like that's the part of the part of like the open development for them is always like, we want to show you how games are made, instead of like being open about the fact that like of what's going on with the major issues, the major things that are to make Star Citizen a thing. It's just one of those things where I would love to be communicated to more with that.
Like, it's not a bad thing when something doesn't work. Like, okay, something didn't work. What are the plans to either improve it or fix it? Like, okay, I guess it didn't work and they made something new. Good.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have known it like a year or 2 years ago, because then we would have maybe understood the delays a little bit more, or at least put that in context. Of course, people would have freaked out because, oh shit, like the big iCache thing they've been talking about for years didn't work. But yeah, I'm a little bit more hopeful, because I think the reason that a lot of more people are also playing at the moment, and a lot more people are streaming, because it's finally got the most basic things of a game at the moment. You can loot stuff and sell stuff. The most basic thing
I would argue we do not have, like, it's really frustrating because we have selling,
it's bugged out most of the time.
It's not bugged out, it's just so poorly implemented.
Yeah, it's poorly implemented, but it's hard still the basics.
You have the basics, but do you sell? But do you, like, if you have a backpack full of stuff, then you don't have selling.
Exactly.
That's the thing for me is, do we really have selling yet? No. And
when the inventory bugs out like 9 of 10 times, like if you try to loot, you don't have selling at all.
But I think that's just like a problem with this patch, and hopefully all that stuff is resolved in 3.17 too. So like the inventory just circle thing forever. I can actually kind of ignore those for right now and hope that the next patch they resolve some of those issues. It's
and no.
It's the poor implementations that frustrate me.
Yeah.
And how long we're left with them.
That the dev post put more context in on the poor implementation of UI and general gameplay stuff. Like, I'm more scared about the skeleton crew that's working on SE at the moment.
Same.
Like, every time we hear like a handful of people working on the major things. Like, I don't know much about development and how many people work on major things. But like the UI stuff, like they have to steal devs from other stuff, probably from Squadron 42. Like UI, the cargo UI is like the most important thing for 3.18 perhaps, except for the backend stuff. Like, why would a skeleton crew need to work on it? Like, shouldn't that be a priority? And that's
Squadron 42 is the priority, and that's
exactly. And that's been the most annoying thing for the last ever.
But it's like the right thing to do is to get it out.
It's the original Kickstarter. They need to get it out.
Yes, it's hard. It's hard to hear the truth, and the truth hurts sometimes. And every time you hear Squadron 42 is the priority, it hurts. But it's what they got to do. It's the right thing.
Exactly. And I just hope that all those assets and everything from Squadron 42 gets transferred over to Star Citizen, like in a decent time frame, like in a week or 2 or 3 or something. Because we have seen so much cool stuff from Squadron 42, these visual teasers and stuff like ships or locations. Like, it would be nice to have that in Star Citizen, but we shall see.
Yeah.
And about the banishment, like, I will refrain from passing my judgment still, because it's still in white box or in gray box or whatever. Like, even the exterior is still in development. But yeah, it's like the concept came out in 2015.
It's one of the oldest.
Yeah, so they probably still had the wrong dimensions as well back then, like how big ships were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always gonna change. And with the Banu Defender, we already saw like the Banu design language was way different than the original concepts.
Yeah, it was very like dark and pointy, and it was maybe like too close to the Vandal.
Yeah, it looked a lot more Vandal-like, and also a little bit GM-like. But yeah, now they have like way different design languages.
Yeah,
but
and a lot of
cares
people are just
about how it
saying
looks?
like the nose was a perspective thing, and yeah, I mean I don't care what it looks like on the outside. I really only care what it looks like on the inside, personally. I think a lot of people
and the
obsess over
gameplay
the
stuff. Or at least
Yeah.
give me the gameplay.
Well, you're not going to get the gameplay. If
Oh,
they're
hell
working, if they're working on this thing now, like how the hell is a shop inventory going to work for player to player,
Yeah,
or like
exactly,
is an
player to
NPC
player.
going to
How?
buy it? How does that work? There's no
Or
way.
maybe-
It's just going to be a cool ship to walk around. You know it. You know it's just this is whale bait, dude.
Or maybe there's the inside there are gonna be NPC shops, right? Or at least what the concept said. Like, so you
is
buy
that-
stuff from NPCs from the inside, and
No.
then you. I thought, yeah, to like hire
So
NPC.
you're going to buy stuff from other NPCs in your own ship? I mean, you could
Well,
probably
you hire the
them
NPCs.
to sell your stuff.
Yeah,
Gotcha, yeah.
yeah. So
Sure.
maybe that's easier to code. I don't know, but at least I'm hopeful it brings some gameplay. At least maybe the bare bones of it, of like NPC hiring. Maybe
You can keep
I can
huffing
cope.
that copium, dude.
Yeah, I know. But-
This ship is 1000% whale bait at the moment.
Only the Endeavor is more wheelbait than the Banishment.
Yeah. What do you think what do you think the price is going to get hiked to? It's currently $600. It started at $185.
1,000 when it comes out. 1,000. It's the size of the Idris. Like, it's gotta be 1,000.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna release with 4.0 or 4.0.1. Damn, that's like, I think it's gotta be with a major patch to hype up the crowd or something.
Well, they say it takes about a year to year and a half. I don't know when.
Yeah, and alien ships, you can add even a half a year on top of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Like-
But they already have the design language pretty clear, it looks like. And like
Yeah.
they've made some rooms like that one room that looked, with the bedroom. That looked like fairly thought out and it looked awesome, so they'll probably kind of stick with that design style or whatever. So it seems like they have a style. I don't know. I wouldn't add too much extra time onto it. It sounds like it'll be a while, but
Yeah, it will be a while. I hope they release it with 4.0 or something. I think it will be proper, like server meshing and one of the oldest concept ships together.
yeah.
But
For sure.
yeah, I'm surprisingly optimistic, but level-headed about the future for the next coming patches. I think it's gonna be a long and tough road this year still. But if they can get 3.18 out of the door, like in a stable state, I'm gonna be hopeful for 4.0. Yeah, I know.
I mean, good luck with
Pure
that.
copium. I'm gonna have some more. The second tank is open.
Yeah.
But,
It's gonna be rough. I think it's gonna be. It has the realistic chance to show massive amounts of potential towards actual gameplay things, like what we've seen so far, from 3.0 to now with Star Citizen, is massive amounts of potential for sandbox elements, for beautiful places, and the game world that they put us in is downright amazing. And
have to set it up.
the next things have the ability to show massive amount of potential for
Yeah.
us interacting with each other and gameplay and all those things, right?
We're in the
And-
3.3 era again. Like,
Yeah.
we got a major tech is coming.
Yep.
And
the first planet, right? You just
Yeah.
started to get that feel. That's what this could be. It's
Yeah.
just it's going to be as buggy as 3.3 was. It's going to be as buggy as 3.4 was. So it's going to be hard to see past those things. But it also should be fairly easy to see what could be possible. And I can't wait. I think that's why those like weird thoughts are creeping into my head of like, why aren't you showing me this? Why aren't you showing me this? Why aren't we talking more about 318? Because it's so important. It's so important to the future of the project. It's so important to everything.
Well, everything hinges on PVS at the moment. Server meshing is hinging on it. Pyro is hinging on it. Like, the future of the game is hinging on PVS.
Yeah.
And if it
so
doesn't
it's hard
work
not
and
to
isn't
hear
delayed,
about it.
Exactly. Like, if it doesn't work on scale, it works in-house. Okay, cool. A few devs can do it. But if 50 people can't, at least for now, can't use it properly, then we're screwed again.
Yep.
So, yeah. We're hoping. The only thing we can do at the moment. We're hoping.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and then hopefully in like a few weeks to a month, we're doing a lot less hoping and we're like, you know, seeing what's actually possible or whatever. So
when it hits wave 1, then we can get a clearer image. People will get a clear image from it from Evo. But
yeah, and obviously, like, one thing that we need to do is set the right expectations, right? If you look at object container streaming and server-side object container streaming, it
took a few months for it to smooth out.
No, way more than that.
Like years. Years.
Like just take the like 3.0 was, you know, and the drop of Hurston, let's say, versus what we're able to fit in a current location now, and to have the frame rates that we have now is certainly changed over the last like 4 or so years. And I imagine the same thing would happen with a tech like this. Is from here you know, continue to add to it and continue to optimize, and hopefully things will get better and better and better. But we'll see. And then, you know, so the amount of players that we may have in an individual server in its first, you know, implementation versus, you know, a little while down the road, I would imagine would be entirely different.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about the full transfer to Gen 12 in 3.18, right?
Yeah.
Now we're still running like
a big patch, man.
Like a lot of backend and engine-related stuff, so that's also a good thing. Like, get all those pillars, core tech in there. Like, okay, don't give excuse anymore why you can't build a game. If those things are in, build the damn game.
Yeah, it's not why we can't, what we need to wait for as much anymore. It's it's like showing that it could happen.
Exactly. But nice been talking to you, man. And hopefully it's gonna be a good year.
I hope so too. All right, Chad, be good, buddy.
Wait.
Bye now. All right, our next caller is Chef Ramsay. I think this is I don't think we've ever had Chef Ramsay on the show. Can you hear me, Chef?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, chat. Hi, Mike. Hi, YouTube comments.
Hello.
Yep.
Don't talk to chat. Don't look at them.
Yeah, I'm Chef Ramsay, not Chief Rams, not Chef Rams, like Chef Ramsay, like the GOAT Gordon.
Yeah. Are you?
Background. Go ahead.
Are you a chef?
No, God, no.
Where's the lamb sauce?
It's not in chat.
Okay.
For sure. So yeah, bit of background on me. I've been following since like 2014, and I've been playing around 2015. Used to be in like top 10 in the Arena Commander leaderboards way back when. Kind of just played a little bit less over the years ever since that Mustang got absolutely butchered.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mostly just came on to kind of discuss the new Merchantman.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not looking that great.
All right.
If you
exterior or interior?
No, I mean interior looks of course gorgeous, but the exterior is like, and I see a lot of people kind of defending it when it really doesn't make sense. If you put the Merchantman next to the Defender and a bunch of Origin ships, you paint them all blue, you'll be hard pressed to call it closer to the Defender. and I mean hard pressed. Any new player, anyone who's not intimately familiar with Star Citizen would even take 3 seconds to tell you it's closer to an origin ship.
Because it's white? I don't know. For me personally, I play the game in first person. I don't play the game in third person. So the exterior to me doesn't matter as much. But I totally understand looking at what you've seen and being like, I don't like this. This isn't what I paid for. And I think that that's like a totally valid opinion to have, right? It's part of the, like, CIG can go, well, we've given you the caveat 500 times of, it is a concept art, things are subject to change, but they also give you that picture and ask you to buy that picture, right? So it's, and the idea of what that picture would be and create what you would do with that image in your head, right? So it's like, they have to take the good with the bad in these situations. I liked the original concept of the Banu Merchantman. I did not like the next concept versions of the Banu Merchantman when it got more white and changed from that dark alien, very kind of pointy shape. I liked the original shape language, but I'm very happy with what I've seen from the internals of it. So I kind of go, fuck it. I don't care what it looks like on the outside, but I also get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I definitely kind of agree. The change, or at least the fact that it looks a lot less spiky, less Van Duel, that's completely fine. I see a lot of people misrepresenting like why people don't like it.
They were saying it was a perspective, right? The nose looks like a duck because of the way the angle they took at it. I don't know what other defenses are out there, Chef. You can let me know.
No, I think that's misrepresentation. They're acting like, people saw, like 3 seconds out of the video, they saw the nose look fat from one angle, and they're acting like that's why everybody's mad. That literally makes no sense. The entire shape, even from the newest concept art, is a lot different. Put the newest concept art right next to the new gray box. It's changed tremendously. It's gotten a lot fatter, a lot slimmer in some points, and ultimately it's not mostly so that the actual colors have changed. It's mostly the shape. Its shape is a lot more in line to an origin ship, a human ship, and a lot less alien. It looks overall more boring.
I'm putting it on screen kind of now above you. I don't know, man. Like, I'll try to pull the nose over. It looks the same to me. It just, for whatever reason, like, the only thing that I feel is missing. Okay, we have the lighting on the left side makes the wing look white, but over here it's that gold color. But the nose, it's really the nose that everybody has issues with, right? And then did we have... I don't know if you could see the stream, but do we have this area at the top side of the nose that's open with what looks and appears to be some weapons?
I'm not 100% sure,
but
I know
think
at least from the bottom, the underside looks completely, I want to say, kind of shaved and off, especially more in the white box or the gray box.
Okay, I'll try to find more of that. Of the underside from the newer concept stuff. I'm assuming we're talking about this image here. This is from a web page, but let me see. Here's Reddit. Okay. This is a pain in the ass where you search on Google and for a Reddit page and the image doesn't come up. So let me open the image in a new tab. I'm assuming we're talking about this underside here, where they have that big thing, but it folds up, right?
I'm not sure. So not the landing gear, but like directly under the body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so even take this one and compare it, at least even put it like right next to the new gray box or white box that they have. It looks a lot less tall, per se, and also looks a lot less slimmer from this new that we have.
Mm-hmm. It looks a lot less slim, right?
Yeah, yeah, and again, it looks a lot more. I guess you could also say a little more boring, a little more tame in comparison. But I mean, ultimately, I think that's like kind of CIG's, uh, I guess, inability to exactly deliver on the concept arts we see in a lot of ships. But with this one, I feel like it's a lot more so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the only issue that I have with it is I just generally feel that the more pointy nose looks better.
Oh yeah,
But I also think the black down the center looks better or whatever. But I'm not as
to an
bothered
extent,
by it, I guess.
right, right. To an extent, like I'm not married to the ship. I'm not really married to the idea of
Hmm.
like changing it. I'm probably never gonna fly the ship, to be honest. But again, I just see a lot of representing like why people aren't liking the example. I think right now, especially right now, while they're in this stage, while CIG has the opportunity to make these changes, I really think it is important for at least people to hear why exactly people don't like it, while they still have the time to change it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if they will. And
Yeah.
I don't.
I,
I don't know, but yeah,
I don't
I'm
blame you.
yeah, I don't know if they will. I think they'll probably just go with what they got, like especially about the width of the nose, because
Right.
my initial assumption was right away that they would have liked it to be thin, but they also had things that needed to be there, and it
Right.
had to get wider then.
Feel like, well, right now, also, how are you kind of feeling about the exterior cars? I mean, the interior. I don't exactly know how it's going to play out. I don't think it's going to play out how most people kind of imagine it will, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I guess it's just really hard to kind of like figure out right now, especially, we're at 50 players right now. So it's kind of, we don't have a lot of these transportation mechanics. We don't really have transportable NPCs right now. So it is like really hard to see how it'll play out.
And this was the original concept art, by the way. I'm just showing this on screen right now from ArtStation. It's so different.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, again, the problem isn't that it looks less Van Duel. It just looks less alien overall.
It looks like more like a whale here, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool. Like, right, this area looks like a whale with the what kind of, it was like a toothbrush looking teeth. I forgot the name of them on whales. Praline or something like that. But
I'm not a marine biologist. So.
yeah, neither am I. But
tell me I'm wrong though. Tell me I'm wrong. It looks closer to Origin ships than the Defender. Would you say?
only because it's white. I'm not necessarily feeling
No
that
worries.
as much, but
No worries.
yeah, but I'm also, I don't know. I never really thought of it that way.
Feel it. I guess. Though again, I'm like not married to the look one way or another. Probably again never really gonna fly it, but I am interested to see how these interior spaces are gonna play. Especially once we do get more players in the servers. And I really wonder how CIG is really gonna facilitate gameplay, interactions in that ship, within other ships, and really the system overall. Like, for example, I think a lot of players are in a rude awakening. They actually uncap the player account.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I see a lot of players right now solo piloting these huge ass ships right now, kind of thinking, oh, I can just kind of go anywhere I want, be on my way, go on autopilot.
They
tab out,
they don't think that they can go anywhere they want.
with
Not
no
only do they think-
escorts, with no escorts.
No,
Caveat.
no, I know. They feel entitled to be able
Yeah.
to, and that's where the
Exactly.
rude awakening is going to happen. You ain't entitled to shit out there in the Wild West.
True.
And I think that that's where things are. There are a lot of long time especially because over the last 10 years, older gamers got older, younger gamers got older and care about different things than they used to in the past. You know, some people who may have been just like absolute diehard PvPers may have gotten a little bit, you know, calmer or whatever. You know, sometimes the nature of like a PvP community in any game tends to be more toxic than others. So maybe they just don't want that anymore, right? And they want things more chill.
Exactly.
Everybody's going to be in for a rude awakening as far as that goes. And that's why I always argue that we need some systems that are completely devoid of the ability to do those things, so those types can just chill and have their space.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if you've seen this video recently from someone in the community. This guy, he basically made a video where he had 100 encounters with players from a piracy perspective, where he'd always play the game from a lawful perspective, made a separate account just for piracy.
Yeah, it was Captain Burks. He's a friend of the show, Captain Burks.
Right on. Well, if you've seen this Captain Burks, that was a beautiful video, by the way. He brought up a great point where, you know, he even said himself where he recognizes on the lawful side, he basically on autopilot for most of the gameplay. Whereas with PvP, these PvP interactions, it's just adrenaline pumping. Hopefully we do get a lot more of that. I wish CIG would facilitate more PvP gameplay. They have missions where, and they're mostly ground missions too, where if a lawful player accepts a mission, it will spawn a counter mission for an unlawful player. I would love to see more stuff from that.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see.
And I'm not sure there's any blockers for that, but I would definitely love to see something where you get a mission to like run some cargo and it spawns a counter mission for an unlawful to like say meet up with like an AI man along a trade route. That would be something I'd love to see in the near future.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we need the ability to have more people together first, and then see what they can do with it. And that's why I'm so like gung ho about 318 and beyond these technical hurdles, because it's really what should define everything. I imagine there's also the idea of things like the economy type stuff would need these things to be functional as well to function itself. Right. So everything is hinging on the next little while to function at its most basic form, and then hopefully grow from there.
I won't be pedantic and say that these next few months will be make or break for Star Citizen.
In a lot of ways, they are
important if they succeed, but I will say this too.
They're making really so much money, there is no break. They can't go broke.
Yeah. But they're putting their money where their mouth is. I gotta give it to Chris. You know, they're not doing the huge keynote, right? They're doing less patches, less content. Like they're really putting it on the line this time, and I appreciate it.
I actually
do appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I think that's a great step in the right direction. They actually have something to back their words this time, instead of like, oh hey, just give it half a year, give it 9 months. No.
Yeah, by the end of the year.
Right.
I've heard that for 3 years. You know?
Yep. Road to Pyro.
Yep. Oh yeah, they stopped saying that. You notice that?
Yep. Subtle.
Yeah. Called that one out the moment I heard it.
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Anytime.
Thanks for having me on. Chatters, thanks for taking the time to listen. YouTube comments, thank you for taking the time to listen. And I hope I made someone feel less, I guess, along with their perspective.
I'm sure. I think you are definitely not in the, at least the vocal minority. People were pretty upset about the Merchantman.
Right on. I hope so. Reasonably so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, Chef. Be good. All right. And our next caller is Sketched. What's up, Sketched? Oh, I am prepared. I didn't think I wrote it there. Sketched. Hello. 3, 2, 1. He's here. He just unmuted. Sketched. Goodbye. All right. Emerald. Emerald, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me change the name here. All right, so what do you want to talk about today, Emerald?
I mean, it's not really focused, but I mean, kind of your opinion on CIG's management and vision lately.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of are a little spastic. And you have all these different teams that kind of pull apart in all these different directions, and then as each team finishes development on something that, you know, they're all kind of coming together to work on, that as things come together and get less and less flexible, that's when they try and kind of unite their own efforts and make things work. And it kind of turns into a bit of a shit show where everything stalls and they're like, oh, this isn't actually working. Like, we don't agree on how things should work, how features should be, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of okay, so my most recent video on my YouTube channel was about the UI and how they responded to some community backlash on it, and I thought responded relatively well, and you know, hey guys, we didn't want to show you something you weren't getting in 3.18 and so on and so forth. And it kind of just like got the juices flowing in my brain about, bro, like, why aren't we going ahead and if you're constantly needing other teams in the company to help you do your own work, why aren't we scheduling these people together to work on common goals? And it just, like, I just thought it made sense in my head. And a lot of people didn't understand what I was trying to say. They were like, different teams work on different things, idiot. That's why you don't have an artist working on, a ship design or something like that. And it's like, that's not what I was saying. What I'm saying is that you can have ship artists working on cargo ships. You can have ship designers working on cargo design in those ships. And you can have the higher ups of the company, confirming and denying like certain types of concepts and how you want things to be. You can have engineers with the gameplay and all those things, and have everybody working towards a common goal. Just seemed to make sense. And then you don't have to steal people from teams if all the teams are working on the same things.
Exactly.
I just don't understand why people didn't get what I was trying to say there, but I could totally understand there must be a valid reason of why that doesn't work. Maybe this work takes longer than that work, and then you have these people waiting. And I always thought of like, well, then why aren't we just going like, this is the bare minimum, and then everything else is a stretch goal after that, and you have people continue to reach the stretch goals throughout the time period, or you have those people work on, the people who are done, polish and make the thing that they're working on even better. Because the current implementation of everything is pretty much tier 0 for every aspect of the game. So if they're done on their tier 0 implementation, start working on the tier 1. The fuck?
Yeah. And
I don't get it.
Like, you see a lot of, like, for me, the vehicle team and the vehicle experience and the other team that joined together, like, that always made sense to me that they would do that. Like, why would you have the team that works on vehicle performance and the team that works on, weapons and components and things? Why would you ever have them be separate? Like,
they put them together finally.
Exactly. And that's where I'm like, as an example,
yep,
why would they?
Why was that ever a thing?
Because they should be talking to each other so much.
Yep.
That, like, why would they be different teams? You can have a team sit in an office and kind of work on different things every once in a while, but like, you should be, kind of checking in with each other at the very least every day, I would think.
Yeah, like the how I see it is yes, every team should work on individual tasks, what they're good at, what they specialize in. But those things that they specialize in should be possibly achieving a common goal. Like I said, like a themed patch, like 318 could easily, I don't want to say the word easily because nothing's easy. I'm not a game dev. I don't understand any of this. And all of this was me just posing a question out there to people who do understand better why they don't do this. And the thing for me was like, if you have the EUPU team and the NAPU team and the vehicle experience team and everybody, economy teams or whatever, all working on what could make cargo better, then you probably don't end up with a Drake Mule that isn't a proper forklift. You probably don't end up with the cargo refactor only being physicalized boxes. You probably don't end up with a inventory UI or a cargo UI that is vastly incomplete for what we would want to have, right? Because everybody's focused on other aspects. So you have like the EUPU team working on like engineering, where if the EUPU team was also working on cargo stuff, maybe not. But they said something about PES. So for me, I always said that this was like a post-PES thing. But still, it's like one of those things where I think it makes sense in principle, but probably in action, there's no way for it to work. But,
well, at the very least, it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
But like, for me, having teams that do things like, it seems like some teams focus a bit too much on immersion, and some teams focus on like gameplay and how things are fun, and some teams focus.
But that's what they
basically
specialize
just on
in.
art. And like, I get that they specialize in things, but like also, if one team only really understands immersion, then you have things like needing to take a shit in game. Meanwhile, the gameplay team is like, that's not necessarily fun. Maybe we should be talking to one another.
That's where I think that the idea that I have feels the strongest. Is it just feels like CIG is so disconnected in what they're working on that I wonder if somebody on the like here's like a perfect example of where like I feel the problems are is that, and this is like, it's so hard because we don't know because they're not open about what they're actively working on necessarily the current moment or actively discussing, is you have a cargo refactor coming. Is anybody making cargo missions? Like things like that. Like, wouldn't you think that if the cargo refactor was coming, everybody would be talking about cargo mission designs, reputation around cargo.
Yeah, you'd be focused on it.
Yeah, and then the next patch could be the salvage one and everything encompassing those things. And it's that's where I feel like everything breaks down, is it almost feels like not everybody knows what the general design is around what's happening. And somebody mentioned Montreal in chat. That's where I think Montreal is. That's where Montreal shows how this works, is that the Montreal team works on their own thing, but they have everybody in that one studio working on those like individual things for the most part. And that's why the stuff that has come out of the Montreal studio is way more polished than any other part of the studio. They may have less devs, they may have more devs, but in the end, they're all individually focused on one thing, and it was the derelict Caterpillar. And the derelict Caterpillar was the cleanest, most polished bit of stuff of anything introduced into this game that we've ever had. And I just wonder why. And I feel like the only reason why is because of coordination. And it feels like the rest of the studio is getting people pulled off on Squadron. This guy, we decided to deprioritize this for other work and so on and so forth. The other issue here, and I'm sorry, Emerald, I'm like talking a lot and you're not.
You're totally fine. Is your channel.
If you go into and say this is a themed patch and we want to achieve these goals, you can no longer have quarterly releases. because you can't release it until you have what you plan on putting in it.
Right. Like this last patch, I mean, easily this last patch could have been themed around like inventory and looting and selling. Like that's a good theme.
And it was
That I
basically
think
the last
most
3
people would have
patches,
liked.
right? 315,
Yeah, exactly.
316, 317. It could have built up.
And
it
and
did.
instead it was just kind of spastic and like inventory sucks and it's slow and
See, I think so from 315 through 316 through 317, I think it got better and better and better. It's just the way we interact with the inventory is still so fucking bad, and the implementation of selling was wildly incomplete.
right. I mean, it's kind of stuff that like not to trash on people. It's like, have you ever played a video game before?
Yes,
You
and
know?
I don't
Not to be
I don't
mean.
think. Yeah, but I don't think that that's fair either. I think it comes down to because all these guys. Because when you look, you may not have seen it, but the people who worked on the inventory, and I'll defend them here because I don't think what you said is fair at all.
No, it's hyperbolic.
Yeah, they know what the problems are with it, and they keep saying that they don't have enough time.
Right. And I just
Whoever's
look at that
deciding,
and I'm like, where-
deciding where the time is being spent is the one that you should be upset at here. Because what is in the game currently, I think most of us would argue, when it comes to inventory and selling, is not acceptable. And you need to make time for those things. And I don't expect the game to be perfect, but that is unacceptable even for an alpha for me.
right. Because it's still a product. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it's an alpha, but also it's a product that you're selling that, post 30 days, no refunds. So like make it enjoyable at the very least. It's not a tech demo, it's not a traditional alpha for people that have played those. It's it's a completely different monster. I mean, effectively it's a live service. You can't have a live service where people are just super spastic and ADHD about everything, and so either nothing gets done or what released is like tier fucking 0. And people are looking at all these other games like, okay, guys, what are they doing differently?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's like where it's, they say they're open development and stuff, but it is very hard to be like, well, why are certain things being prioritized over others? And sometimes it's very easy to see, and then sometimes it's very difficult to see, especially when squadron stuff is being prioritized over whatever you were hoping to see in the game. Is you don't see those people typically leave. I think they did a decent job being like, hey, all these actor status guys are moving, and that's literally what happened to inventory, right? Is that was that entire team, basically, and that's what happened to it. And it's just tough to hear because you're just like, nah, man, you can't leave it like this because the game isn't great. It's not perfect, but I think you clean up a couple of those things and it's doable. It's workable.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's like, guys,
we need
there's
workable,
something
and we
there.
don't have that. Like, yeah, again,
Yeah.
I'm not asking for perfect. I'm just asking for workable, and you can't argue that this is functional. Especially when it comes to selling. You have to click twice to sell everything. There's an incredibly slow circle. Like, the amount of time it would take to sell things individually and things not stacking, that's not workable. It's gotta work, and that's it. And then I'm okay. Like, then move on to another project. But that what you put out, in my opinion, is not shippable, and they need to up their standards on what's shippable and what's not. And if you don't have enough time, you need to make time.
Yeah. And for
I'm
me,
sorry, delay Squadron 42 for an extra 3 months to put something workable in Star Citizen, because
Right.
they've said it many times that, wow, I can't believe how many people are playing this game right now. This is so great, blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? A lot more people would be playing if things were like literally just usable.
Yeah. And for me, the biggest frustration is like most things are like 80 or 90% of the way there to where
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's acceptable.
Yep.
I'll play that. Like, there's something in this game that keeps us all coming back to it.
Yep.
Like, make it a little bit more functional, and you'll kind of hear us just shut the fuck up and stick to issue console.
I mean, I think that the thing is, I think they know all this stuff exists. It's just somebody is pulling the strings and saying what's a priority and what isn't, and it always seems to be the things that delay the general functionality of the game, and they're totally. It just comes down to what they feel is acceptable. I feel like, and it's just not up to a standard that I would consider acceptable. A lot of people defend it and said, they just say it's an alpha. Shut up, Mike. You're just a whiny bitch or whatever, and maybe they're right. I don't know.
It's not a traditional alpha. Like, people that have played alpha games before and alpha tested or beta tested, this ain't it.
No.
Sorry. And it just, as far as open development goes, like, one of my absolute favorite games, and it's because of their open development, is Warframe. And if you've ever tuned in to, like, their dev episodes, it's literally just, like, all their devs sitting around talking about, like, these features are coming, these are what we're working on, these are the ideas behind it. They talk about, like, their motivations and what they want things to be, and you know the direction that they're trying to pull things in, and they're kind of, like, open and not necessarily asking people for help, but, like, hey, suggest things. And I just feel like that's totally absent when it comes to CIG's kind of vision of open development. Is, I don't know what you're developing, you know? Right down to, like, Evocati and the NDA.
Yeah.
That's not open development. An NDA is not open.
We could talk about that for a little bit too. Listen, the Evocati people, I don't think they like me very much, and this, I'm sure they'll be sharing this around.
Whatever.
I don't know how I'll stay in Evo if they're going to keep an NDA on a patch that is going to be in Evo for 3 months, and it just comes down to, like, I'm being held to standards that they don't hold themselves to.
Right.
And it's really annoying. So I'll probably just leave, and it is what it is. I really haven't had time to test Evo the way I've wanted to in the last few months, just because of work and the way they schedule things, and it's quite frustrating. But that is what it is. It's going to be a very weird situation. Like, I've asked many times, like, I can't even mention that there's a patch. I can't talk about the patch notes, and they're just like, no. And
Which is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like, these things
go
end
on
up
Reddit.
like these things end up in the open instantly. So you aren't doing the due diligence to protect your own interests, but I have to do them, or I get in trouble. Like, what? So yeah, they're like, listen, man, you don't want me to stream it. You don't want me to make YouTube videos showing it. I could totally respect that. But when I have to actually time out people in my chat that are generally just excited about the game and being like, oh, did you see this fix, or did you see this feature that's in Evo? Guys, like, come on. That's just totally unreasonable and fucking stupid. Like, I have respected, and I've always been on the idea of the focused testing of Evo is very, very important, and to have a very clean and clear, concise testing environment where feedback can be given, testing can happen, and it's much less noise that you get when you the second you go to open PTU, it's a mess. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
when you get the people paying $10 to get in wave one just to test out the new stuff, it's like,
there's absolutely a purpose for Evocati being like an exclusive group, but there is no need for it to be like patch notes to be locked behind an NDA. It's just fucking stupid.
Well, there's no reason for, like, honestly, there's no advantage for, like, someone like you to be in Evo.
No, there is.
As a creator.
No, there is. There absolutely
because you can't talk about it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I can talk about it, because the moment I can, I know everything about it and nobody else does.
That's true.
So there's definitely an advantage, which is the main reason why I'm in it in the first place. Or I should say the main reason why I joined it in the first place, but I've actively enjoyed being a part of the process since I joined it. Yeah, so it's just one of those things that
weird.
We'll see what they do with 318, and if they don't, I'm immediately leaving, because it just makes no sense for me at that point. I don't think it negatively affects my content that much. I think I've grown and done very well as a content creator without ever posting a leak or ever talking about one. And everyone who does, in a lot of ways, I've grown to be the same, if not larger than a lot of them on certain platforms. Some I am, some I'm not. And I'm doing fine. I don't feel I need it. I just don't think there's any reason for it. And I think it would negatively affect me in the coming patches. So, I'll do what's best for myself first and the game second. And that'll be that. It's a pretty cool. Easy one.
Yeah. That's basically all I had. It was just,
okay.
They seem unfocused, I guess. Like, you've got this big vision from Chris Roberts. And then
I don't think they are, but they seem. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got, like, micromanaging going on, but there's no, like, macro management, There's
Maybe.
No one there saying, this team talk to this team often to make sure that, like, your visions are in line.
I just would imagine that I always try to lean on the, like, I don't understand and help me understand. And it's worked out a lot better for me over the last years. Just asking the questions, and some people answer, and you learn, and it's like, oh, okay, that does make a bit more sense. And
oh yeah,
usually
they don't do things for no reason.
Exactly. They're not stupid. They're not like, these aren't bad people.
Yeah, they're not there to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can curse. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I don't think that there's malice involved here at all.
No. That would be weird.
Yeah. And I think it's just Squadron. I agree. Like, somebody in chat just said it. It's just straight up Squadron, and it's fucking annoying. And I can't wait till it's out. Like, good or not, I don't care. Just get it out, and let's get the focus in where it needs to be. But, all right, Emerald, we'll let you go, dude.
Cool, man. See ya.
Later. All right, our next caller is STEMPEC, who just popped in and replaced the last one. So let me get your name on there, Stem. What do you want to talk about today?
Hello. I actually just want to talk about the topic you just had.
Okay.
Because I already wrote you, like, what I want to talk about, and I think it's fits very well right in there. I can just start to where I come from with my topic, and I think it kind of proves a bit the point you just made a bit. Basically, I study business informatics. Can you hear me? Yeah. And we had some really interesting interviews with CTOs. So basically, there are CEOs, so Chief Executive Officers, and CTOs, Chief Technical Officers. They kind of have the same rank in a company, but basically in these huge tech companies, there grow the need that, like, the highest ranking people need to have more knowledge about technical stuff. And it was really interesting having interviews with them, because most of them were like normal technical guys, developers, or people working in operation, like Chris Roberts and stuff, and the other people we see. And they are great with everything technical. So, and we see that in Star Citizen. They're creating a very complex thing that is working. I mean, yes, we have all these bugs and stuff, but they're really good.
So far, they haven't not achieved their goals. They're still working towards them. So it's not like it hasn't worked. They've been moving forward. At the pace they've been moving forward, people can argue is good or bad, but they have been moving forward. So I agree with that statement.
So yeah, you basically put that right. But basically for me, from a IT guy perspective, what they are showing is really impressive. So compared to other games, like when you look at other games, it's just so simple what they are doing, and when you look at Star Citizen, they are always like doing things extremely more complex.
Yeah.
Which takes time. But basically, back to the point, these technical officers, they have problems communicating a bit. So basically, they are still in the role of a developer, kind of. So they want actually to build their own product. But for most of them, it was really hard to basically go to, oh, I'm actually a manager now. I need to manage my personnel. I need to manage my company. I need to manage like user experience and stuff. So like that the people actually like the project, the product. And I think we really see this in Star Citizen, that basically we have in some places great user experience and some like horrible user experiences, and you can see that there is a huge focus on just technical stuff sometimes. Like we just do this from a technical standpoint, but not like from a manager standpoint. How do the product need to be for the customer?
Yeah, or even
the,
just like a general like well communicated to your like your customer base or your backers. It's usually
yes.
You know, maybe a little bit too technical. Okay.
Basically, when we look at how CEOs work, they have more the customer, what wants the customer to buy in mind. How do we make the product, and less the technical stuff. So like they would even turn technical stuff down and make the product less complex, even with less
which is where
abilities.
I think we were a few years ago, going all the way back, right? It was like, let's simplify things and sell ships and not focus anything on gameplay. Let's focus on XYZ thing, the visuals, whatever, right?
Yeah, you can. This is the interesting part. You can basically see them learning the management stuff. You can actually feel how they are learning it and how they're implementing it, like with Bar Citizen even.
Yeah.
So they want more connection to the. It's hard to say customer, but we are basically some kind of customer to understand us better. And what is for us like completely normal in a video game, like even the selling stuff and so, or how we use like the med guns and stuff.
Yeah.
Where these things were, these dramas. This is for them like, I think they are much more focused on like doing their production pipelines, putting stuff out, like technical stuff. So like things are working, and then go on to the next thing. They are not like too deep in, okay, how playable is the next patch? Okay, they're coming to it right now, so they're doing it more.
They're moving in that direction for sure, though.
But you can basically feel that. I think it's kind of a good thing that they are moving in this direction, and I think it's a very good thing that we actually have these CTO, so more like CTO people in the development, because like we can see how other games develop with CEOs, and we clearly don't want that to happen here. And basically, we want the finished game, like so as soon as possible. Yeah. So basically, I think their focus, like, okay, we actually want not the best 3.18. We want the best finished game. Is kind of good, but it's stressful right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't even find it that stressful. It's like what the a lot of what they've been saying and a lot of choices they've been making has made it a lot less stressful for me. It's been a lot easier to just go, oh yeah, you can kind of see them going in the right direction, and it's created the ability for me to be a lot more patient than I have been in the past. I do believe, like I said with the last caller, is like I think we do have to make some better choices on what's acceptable to put out and what is an acceptable tier 0 implementation. And I don't think inventory was one, and I don't think selling was one. And if you don't have the time to make it right, you need to take people off of what you were putting them on and make those products better. But I don't know how much longer that would have taken. Again, I don't know any of that stuff, but I just don't feel that some of the key features that are meant to kind of hold us on until other stuff is completed or whatever should be really, really easy to use, functional, and just better implemented. So, things like an inventory, things like selling, things like the way we use our ships, things like the way we interact with, spawning, despawning our ships, like the ASOP terminal, all that stuff should just be a very, very important priority to them, because all those little interactions are what lead to the very good or very bad experiences that we have in Star Citizen. They're all major, major parts of those. After that, it's, I can ignore the bugs in a lot of ways, but I can't ignore the lack of priority on just usability and functionality. That's it.
Yeah. I agree and disagree with you. It's basically a really hard topic for management, because it's kind of easy to say, hey, put an engineer here and fix the selling. You should do some work there, fix the selling, and come back. It sounds really easy, but
I'm not saying they should fix it. I'm saying they should have never put it out knowing that this is how it works.
Yeah. My point is basically engineering work, especially with IT products, is like you have a lot of basically time you need to get to know with the product. So basically, so if you're even if you're an engineer and both things you're working on is something for engineers, you basically need some time to get in and learn with what you are dealing with, what you are working with, and especially it needs time to get a person really productive.
Okay.
Like
then take that time. You can argue all you want, but if you think that it's acceptable to put out the selling mechanic in the way that it is, and it's acceptable to literally have some things stack and others not, and not have the ability like to have to move everything over one thing at a time, it's one of those things where I just have a hard time going, we should have taken that time. You need to take that time.
This is why I said I agree with you. 100%. But it's like they even wrote with the UI thing, we took somewhere an engineer and he did it
from another team.
Yeah, and this is like, you basically never want to interrupt engineers because after some hours they really get productive, and you basically want to put them in the locker and feed them and nothing else, and then they become productive. But this is like some really interesting thing we also learned, how to manage people.
Let me ask you that question then, is how does the USPU team, because that's Ben Dorsey works with them, I believe, why doesn't he have an engineer of his own? Like, you don't want to distract them. Well, why doesn't he have the one he needs? Why does he have to take one from another team? Again, I think it always just goes back to Squadron.
Basically,
everybody's
the first question I would ask is, do they need all the time an engineer?
I would imagine the team who works on gameplay on the PU would need an engineer all the time. Yes, that would be my guess. Again, don't work in game development. Not sure if I know, but just in general, I believe that every team that works on like PU stuff, mission team, would need like engineer, QA, UI, artist.
Yeah, it's basically how you form your teams.
Yeah.
Um,
So if they have to pull
basically-
one from another team, does that mean that they didn't have one, or does that mean that the one that they had was working on something else? It's hard to say.
yeah, this is speculation.
100%.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, we really don't know. But like I said, when they want to all the time need one, it's basically a good idea to have one all the time there. So basically, you have the connection, but it's also really benefits if you have all engineers in one office, because if someone has a problem, others can help him. And hey, I built this feature and I got this knowledge, and the next, like we already seen that they are working in sprints, and working with Scrum. So basically, they're working in sprints, have very huge knowledge transfer to each other. So I guess they have more like engineering teams, but yeah, this is where I wish like open development would show these things. This would be really interesting, like how they actually prioritizing and putting their timelines together and stuff. This would be really the cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, but it is what it is. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or?
Yeah, I guess we already mentioned like where you said why don't go feature focused patch releases.
Yeah, like most other game studios kind of do that stuff, but they're also working with like a finished engine, and it's a lot easier to do it then. So I understand that might be a little ways away, but it does seem like that they're complaining about situations where the team isn't all focused on the same things, and that's why they don't have enough people.
Yeah, I also
have
the feeling they have not enough people. I mean, this is a really interesting thing. I mean, they're building lots of room for people, but it will be very interesting if they get them.
Yeah.
Because the IT market is like very harsh right now. Get people, especially if you don't pay like others in the industry.
Yeah. I don't know.
But like, yeah, that would be another topic now.
Yeah, I agree.
I think I made my point, and
I think so.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, I guess I'll let you go there, Stempeg, because Sketched is back, and we are starting to get a little short on time at this point.
Was nice talking to you.
Of course, as
Thanks
always.
a lot.
Thanks for sharing your insights and your input, because it always helps people in the industry, learning about the industry, things like that, to help me kind of grow and my thought process changing, because you can't have a thought process on something you don't understand, right? So things come to my mind, but I try to learn from those things and hear what other people have to say about them.
It's with many content creators that you're like, yeah, they have some right points, but
we're not
that's
authorities.
Not how, yeah. But when you look at someone who is working in, I don't work in the gaming industry, but like we kind of do software engineering, so we also develop software, and we are like, this is now how it works.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Basically,
we are not authorities on, like, here's the thing that I hate about Star Citizen is that we're always fucking talking about its game development. We're never talking about, oh man, you know what? I really like think that the current system is it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel balanced like this. It would be way more fun if it was this way. We rarely have those conversations. We're always sitting here talking about fucking game development, and like the content creators in this space all of a sudden start acting like they're authorities on the subject. And I think that was a lot of the backlash that I got in my video, is I felt that people felt that that's what I was putting out there, when in reality I was going, I'm not an authority on this subject. This thing came to my mind. Is it reasonable or is it not? Because it just makes sense to me, but it may not make sense at all. And that's what kind of where that video just came from. And yeah, and I always try to sit there and be like this should be like a learning process for all of us. But I really want to get away from this one day and just talk about the damn game and not Chris Roberts and their management structure. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, honestly, in so many ways, what is the content in Star Citizen? Because it's so bad in so many ways. Is how many people just sit there and talk about the game's development and not play it. It's such bad content.
You can basically hear that they have not that much knowledge in real development.
Yeah.
It's something really hard to listen to them. Mostly I just turn the video off and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that.
It's boring.
But yeah, you are right, 100% right there. But I
Meanwhile,
think
I just did a whole fucking podcast for 2 hours on it, and it no offense, Stempek, because I wasn't bored while we were talking, but it's fucking boring. Like, this video is not going to do well. I already know when this goes on YouTube, it's not going to do well because it's boring. I don't give a shit about game. Nobody, like, most people don't care. You could tell the content creators that people watch, the YouTube channels that do the YouTube videos and channels that do the best are the ones that show and just focus on the game and not about the game's development.
I mean, yeah, if you would put up a 2-hour game development software engineering lecture.
I mean, that's essentially what this just was.
Yeah.
And just a really bad one. You know?
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know what I'm talking about. So
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, obviously, the things that you talked about are more researched and understood and all those things. But, I'm not saying your comments were bad. I hope you don't take it the wrong way there. It's just...
I have some broken English and stuff.
No,
fine.
You're fine. You speak very, very well. It's... I'm just saying, like, it's such a weird phenomena, this community, everything, what people are interested in, all that stuff. And I'm looking forward to the day, and I do, like, to all the way go back to, like, Johnny's first call in the beginning, where he was so excited for these other creators that are not bored yet and are excited about what is on their computer and what is in front of them and what they're playing. It feels like we're getting more and more and more of that, and it's I like the direction we're going, and less talking about the game's development, and I'm trying to shift away from that as much as possible. But yeah. All right, their next caller ring me, Stempek, so I'll let you go, and we'll go. Later, bro.
It was nice talking to you. Thank you.
As always, same here. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Sketched, how's your mic? Nope. No mic for Sketched.
Is this working now?
It's working now. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Sorry
man.
about that earlier.
No worries.
Yeah, it is a bit of a bad mic. I've had some issues recording guitar on a headset mic. It's not very healthy for it.
No, it's it sounds fine though. I can turn it up a bit, but other than that, you're fine.
Brilliant.
All right. So what do you want to talk about?
One of the first things, I guess, is going right back to what Johnny was saying at the beginning about immersive content in the caves. I've been pushing this really hard recently in every chat I spend much time in, to the point of boring people, I expect, both in how profitable it is and that people really ought to be going there in groups, because it's also very dangerous. I've spent much of the last few weeks hanging out and trying to start PvP there, robbing people. Initially, I did the mission a lot myself. Now, I watch the mission, I wait for someone to take it, and then I go there.
I agree. Like, caves actually, you know, with the amount of money you can make there and stuff, it definitely seemed like one of those funnel spots that you could find players at. But I stopped doing them because I kept falling through the world. I kept experiencing more bugs and getting stuck at caves than anywhere else. When you do them, do you still have those issues, or have you had those issues? That's like, whenever anybody mentions caves, I'm kind of just like, yeah, but I've had some pretty horrible experiences at them so far. Like, unable to finish the last like 3 or 4 missions that I tried to do there.
Yeah, some of them are worse than others. The one on Daymar, where I've mostly been hanging about, isn't too bad. There's a couple of bad mantle spots, and there's a couple of corners where you can get stuck in a permanent falling animation. And the only way out of that is to backspace or log. But mostly it's not too bad.
The permanent falling animation you can get out of. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know.
Like, if you fall through the world, you're done. But if you're just stuck and it feels like you're floating, put up your dukes, press 0, put your hands up, and start moving around. And usually, like 99.9% of the time, I've gotten out doing that. That's been a bug from day one.
It's not actually. It's when you're in a little hole. There's a few with very strange angles that you get stuck in on.
Try putting up your fist.
I'll try it.
Because it's what's happened to me. They've been issues in the cave since they've come out.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important for the game, and it's especially given the amount of content that's currently available, that we have these kind of emergent areas for the PvP, like the original Jump Town, which was before my time, but I've heard a huge amount about and watched some videos of. And I think it was perhaps a bit of a shame that they removed the gems from bunkers. I understand why. They didn't make a huge amount of sense, but it would be nice if there was something else in place. I don't know, microchips or documents or something that made it worth people going there in groups and people going there for conflict.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it is so frustrating because I don't know how far we are away from it, but I've been saying this a lot lately. If you really take the time and think about it, is it not like Tony Z's economy thing that is holding everything back? So it feels like they won't do anything related to adding new items to the game and you know, giving certain things value and other things not value. It's a lot of the same stuff. So all the gems that currently are valuable or that have the same value. Hadanite is the only Quantanium is the only thing worth mining and mining. We have very much the same cargo hauling runs, right? And then you stop and think, like, how if we just had a dynamic economy that was you know, kind of flowing and changing and creating reasons to do different things and giving value to some things in certain areas and not others or whatever, it ends up going like, this one thing is the issue with like so many of the things that we have in game. Dynamic missions, the pricing on them, you know, rewards, all these things seem to be all just waiting for this one thing that we have no idea when it's done. And it bothers me because every time I think about like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if, like, kind of like what you were just saying, it always goes back to that.
Yeah, I think you hear that reason for a lot of features that get left or neglected, that, oh, well, you know, this other technology is coming, so there's no point doing it now.
Yep.
And while I can appreciate that having to keep a game in this stage of development as a playable live service must be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And they are stretched quite thin, but a lot of this could be changed and experimented on. It's not a huge tech issue. Before that happens, it's changing a couple of values here and there would make a huge difference to having areas of emergent gameplay, to having trading being interesting, to having mining more than Quantanium be worthwhile. It's a couple of value tweaks, and sure, they're stretched very thin. But
Is it? Like, I really want you to think about this, and because I've thought about it a lot, and I used to feel the same way you do, but I wonder, like, I always wonder, is it? Like, if you just put a, let's use, I think you use like the data pad thing, right? Like those are an item in game. If they just change the values to make them more expensive and more worth selling, how long would that be interesting? Like, the thing that I always come back to is what I always found, and I could be very different from many of you guys out there, and you too, Sketched, is what I always found interesting about certain games and certain economies was it wasn't always like the monetary value of something, but it was like the usefulness value of things. And that requires a lot more work. So the idea of, well, is ROC mining fun? Well, it's not that fun because it is. I enjoy it. It's like one of my the things I enjoy, some of the things the most things that I enjoy in the game. I can't speak. Is doing ROC mining, but it would be a lot more fun if there was a usefulness to those gems. If I took that resource and turned it into something, or if the things that I've like, what is kind of fun about going to bunkers now is that you are getting guns that are useful to you, and they may not have like monetary value, but oh, I really like that gun, and I go to these bunkers and I'm always getting the FS9s now. It's that's useful. There's something that a value there for me that's more than just an alpha UEC value, right? And I feel like it's more than just changing a few XML files that really is what the game really needs. I feel like the moment they change an XML file and put something of value at a bunker that you go to monetarily would be cool for a little while, and then you would get bored of it really quick. But if you were constantly going to bunkers and having the opportunity to, I don't know, find a key to a locker that has resources that you need in them, if there were more consumables for every aspect of the game, then going out there and giving a player purpose is what's missing. And it's a lot more work to give us purpose than it is to change a couple XML files and make something valuable. You know what I mean? I think it's just so much more deep than that.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I just think, again, that's we're waiting for this tech. We're waiting for. In the meantime, having something would be nice. I
agree. Like having something to hold you over is nice, but I just wonder if is what you're at, like, would it really do it? And I've kind of stopped myself and go, whatever they would put in there in the interim, I think I would just get bored of just as fast, you know? But that's just me. I think it could really work for you, you know? And I'm not going to disagree with what you say.
The loot itself, I agree. But you see many players, and large amounts of new players, that one of their early questions is, how can I make the most AUEC? What's the most profitable activity? And they'll just do that over and over, and they'll grind it because they want the AUC to buy ships, because ships are content for them. So I think it would help. I don't think it solves the core issue, as you say. I agree that gameplay is more important. But I think it at least draws people together and allows some conflict.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Jumptown was so successful for, right? It was so simple. It was really so simple, and I guess that's more of what you're asking for. It was a simple thing that brought players together and then allowed whatever happened to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So in a way, you're looking for sort of a Jumptown scenario, but at a bunker or a cave.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Just something where there's some value that encourages a concentration of players, and then that gives more options for emergent gameplay with other players, as it is, especially with the 50-player servers. Yeah. People are so spread out. You can go all day and not see another person except for a landing pad. I
think that's like so reasonable to think of it that way. Is I really hope that CIG looks at Jumptown and goes, wow, what a success. How can we do that, more of that? And maybe the next thing is the Siege of Orison, where a lot of people are going to be there. And if you guys don't know, there's certainly some non-armistice zones areas there. So the idea of conflict and anything can happen kind of situations will likely be the case. And I think that's pretty cool. And I agree. Just finding ways and unique ways to bring us together should be their focus until the dynamic economy and more development can go on to give more purpose to players in the future.
Yeah, I think so. I hope the Siege does do that. The PTU test of it last month sometime, there was quite a lot of PvP going on. There was some problems with it. I think the map and the event itself weren't really designed with that in mind. But it was happening.
Yeah. So like somebody in chat just said, wouldn't player concentration in theory increase when Star Marine is in place? I think, yes, in theory it increases, right? Because you could put more players there. But if you're not creating a server with 5,000 players even in just the Stanton system, we still wouldn't see each other that much. You have to create places that people actively want to go to and that they convene and are funneled to in order for us to actually interact. We can all be in the same server, but we would still likely be fairly spread out.
Yeah, it's a huge space, and a lot of the missions that are currently in fly to this quick time point that only you have and fight these NPCs.
Exactly. You need to have more of a, I don't know, like a common ground that people go to often.
Yeah, I think that's what's lacking. It's happened occasionally. And with stuff like trading and mining, having set routes, there's not really much point in trying to interdict people with a mantis at the moment, because very few people are trading, and where they are, they're trying to find the most obscure, out-of-the-way route, because otherwise all the supply and demand is already gone, and you're standing at a console for half an hour.
Yeah, again, going back that dynamic economy, there's just so much hinging on so many things. We're in such like this crazy moment where I don't think like anything is going to explode in terms of like gameplay and development or anything like that. I think we're still going to have a very much slow burn for a very long time, but there's just so much that we're just having to patiently wait on. Way more than, but we feel like closer to it than ever before. So it doesn't feel like the early days of the game,
Yeah, I do. Now. And I appreciate the difficulty of a lot of the technical problems they're trying to overcome, and the tech that needs to go in with meshing and with the dynamic economy and PES and things. Just think a little more thought into doing a few simple things in the meantime, because difficult as that must make life for them, it is a live service. People do want to play it increasingly. There's a huge influx of players, and they want things to do.
Yeah, agreed.
And they want a multiplayer game.
Agreed. I think we'll get there eventually, but I'm 100% with you. I hope they just focus on more of these little wins that are achievable in the current status of the game, and then that gives us time to kind of enjoy it while we have it with what we have, and then it gives the ability to be more patient while you're waiting for the actual game to be developed. Like I would really love to see a situation where there was like a common goal that we all worked together for, and it wasn't a PvP scenario where it was like, a really good reward or some kind of like, I'm just, completely making this up, but it would be really cool to see a situation where everybody works together and it's it's more of like a teamwork thing, similar to Xenothreat without the problems that we had at Xenothreat with people taking the other side or whatever. I don't know what that would look like, but
I think that'd be great. I'm not only saying this should all be conflict or PvP based and stuff. I think more cooperative stuff would be brilliant as well. Some players just want that. I think that's great too.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what it would look like, but maybe the rebuilding of, the updating of Port Olisar, let's say, or the rebuilding of the ICC. Remember, Tessa Bannister or something like that. Bringing supplies there or something. I think that would be really cool. Maybe do something like that.
Yeah, anything that brings players together, really. I think that's simple to execute. That's not, we're waiting for this tech. I mean, I'm really looking forward to some of the new tech, and I think it'll be brilliant. But the game's a live service now, and
100%.
I think they need to try and pick a few low-hanging fruit just to give people more to do.
Yeah, man.
More multiplayer things to do, whether that's PvP or co-op PvE.
I agree. But all right, Sketch, we hit the 2-hour mark, so I'm probably going to call it here. And yeah, I'm glad you got your mic working, and it didn't sound bad at all.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Soon.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That was Answer the Call. Open forum. We had our moments. I definitely got frustrated at moments with some people, but it wasn't as bad as we've had it in the past, so that was pretty cool. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it again. I think the real theme for me is I'm so sick and tired of like complaining about Star Citizen's development, talking about Star Citizen's development. I really just want to get to that point where we're talking about what's fun in the game, what's not fun, what could be better, what's, and it feels like we're on that path. I don't know if we're there yet or when we're going to get there, but it feels like we're on the right path, and I feel like the future is exciting, and I've never been happier to be a Star Citizen creator, and I've never been more optimistic for the game than now. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. For the YouTubers or YouTube commenters or watchers, make sure you leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff for more answer the calls. And if you're watching on Twitch and you have not caught the entire episode, it'll be up on YouTube later today. So make sure you guys go check that out. And if you're watching on YouTube and want to participate like some of the other people, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, discord.gg/SaltEMike. Today was definitely an earlier one. It's 10 a.m. now. This is usually when we'd be starting, but we started about 2 hours early today because Family Day. It's a big family holiday here in the U.S. and other parts of the world. Father's Day. So, yeah. Make sure you say hello to your fathers, whether they're with us or not. And, appreciate what they've done for you and everything. And I love my family, and I hope you guys all have a good time with yours today. I also get to play hockey today. That's the best thing. Father's Day, Mother's Day, we're not allowed to play hockey on. No hockey games on Mother's Day. Father's Day, there's always hockey games. So I'm very excited. And yeah, I'll catch you guys all later. Thanks for watching, as always.